on the first page of the review, and I've asked you guys to try to work through. I see some of you have skipped some of you have been messing with your phones, some of you have been whatever, I don't know. Did it and then moved on to the next page. But we need to know the formulas. This would be on the second page of your ISM, right after the cover, right on the back of the front page. That's where it says the formula for the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex polygon. The formula is 180 times the number of sides minus 2. That's your sum formula. So all you're doing is plugging in 21 in here. So you're doing 180, and I probably think most of you would subtract that 21 minus 2 in your head. Do 180 times 19 on your calc and get, and I don't remember what that is. Can you tell me? 3420? 3,420 degrees. It's a lot of angles in there, and they're pretty big angles. Okay, so that is the answer. Then it says, now, you don't need to divide by 21 because it didn't say to find out each measure. If it says to find the size of one of the angles, then that's what the next step would be. Okay, it says find the measure of each. So this one's asking for each interior angle. And then you have to know how many sides are in a heptagon. How many sides? 7. It's in your chart. There's no reason for you to not know that answer. It's right on your chart. So if you're going to do 7-sided figure, first you're going to find the sum of the angles, and that would be 180 times 7 minus 2, which would be 180 times 5, and that's 900. Okay, then you would find each interior angle by dividing that by 7, and that gives you a decimal for the answer. It's 128.6, and that's in degrees. Now, some of them do come out to be decimals, so don't be freaked out if you get a decimal for something. Everybody have 1 and 2. Any questions now about 1 and 2? Obviously, you're going to have several questions like that on your quiz. Yes. Number 3 says, find the measure of each exterior angle. You were supposed to learn that the exterior angles always add up to 360. Okay, they add up to 360. So if you have a 15-gon and it's regular, that means every one of them is the same. You take 360 divided by the number of sides. That set is in one of the boxes right on the top of the first page of the ISM that we wrote on. 360 divided by 15. 24, right? So this figure has 24-degree exterior angles. Now I want to remind you of something about the exterior angles. So it's like this polygon, and I'm not drawing the whole thing, but when you extend a side, this is the exterior angle. Okay, the interiors are supplementary to the exteriors. All right, these would all be 24 is what it's saying. Okay. Number 4, the measure of each exterior angle is 12 degrees. So they're saying that some figure, the exterior angles are only 12 degrees. Okay. It says find the number of sides of the polygon. Well, you would have n of those, right? The number of sides of those around the 360. So the way you solve this is just like the last one. You take 360 and you divide by how big each angle is, and that'll tell you the number of sides. Okay? So, I wrote 24. What was I supposed to divide by? 12. All right, so what's 360 divided by 12? How many? 30? Okay, 30. Oh, I guess I could have thought about that. 30 sides. So doing the angles, finding the number of sides and finding the angle measure, it's the same process. Divide into 360. But on number 5, you're given an interior angle. To get the number of sides that the polygon has, you're supposed to do 360 divided by an exterior angle. Well, they didn't give you the exterior, they gave you the interior. So if you have the interior angle is 162, can't you figure out the exterior angle? They're supplementary. Okay, so since the interior one was 160, I'm just like making up a polygon. That's not even to scale. So my point being, if you know an interior angle, you can always get the exterior angle because they're supplementary. So the exterior angle is equal to 180 minus the interior angle, which is written on your ISN. The interior angle is 162, so our exterior angle is 18. All right, then you take 360 divided by 18, and that'll tell you how many sides it has, and that would be 20, right? Okay, this stuff is on the quiz Tuesday. Determine whether I think I have a slash and a parallel, like that. This is no. How come? What's wrong with it? If you wanted to fix that, it's because, well, I mean, I don't want to, I'm going to tell what it would need to be, because I actually had you put in your ISN right next to it that this doesn't work. It needs to be what? The same pair of sides parallel and congruent. The same pair opposite sides parallel and congruent. And since those are just a pair of parallel and a pair of sides congruent, it's not a justification for a parallelogram. The thing could have done this. And that's not a parallelogram. Okay, let's try to finish off this page. We've got 7. This is a true false section. I don't think I have true false on the quiz, but we should still be able to answer these. A quadrilateral with 2 pairs of opposite sides congruent is always a parallelogram. Is that true or false? 2 pair of opposite sides congruent. One of the main properties of a parallelogram. So this would definitely be true. That's always true. The diagonals of a parallelogram are always congruent. True or false? Well, I'm going to illustrate something for you. Is this segment as long as this one? Does that look the same size as that? I guess it does to you. Okay, I'll be more exaggerating. Is that the same length as that? No. This is false. The diagonals aren't congruent. The diagonals bisect each other. They're not equal to each other. They cut each other in half. So there's some stuff, this is equal to this, which I did a terrible job of drawing it, and this is equal to this. So don't get that confused with the entire diagonal. These aren't equal. All right. Next one says that the slope of AB and CD is a third. Well, it looks like we got some sides that are going to have the same slope. So let's see if it matches up on the picture. So you have to label the ABCD going around the outside. I think I did that for you possibly, or no? Did I left it blank? Okay. You might need to do that on the quiz. So if AB and CD, are they across from each other? They are. So that would tell me those are parallel because they have the same slope. And BC and AD are across from each other, and that says they have the same slope, so this would be true. Okay. Opposite sides are parallel. Oops, so true.
Here we see how to pass the 24.
You didn't have to write why, but I thought I'd bring it up.
There have been many attempts at passing your drug test in the CAT.
A, B, C, D again. I'll start up there. A, B, C, D. Measure of angle A, 140. The measure of angle B, 50. Does that make this a parallelogram? Why not, Melissa?
Yeah, there can be like fake ways, like fake tests and shit like that, but you're like, if you want to like actually test it, you could get fake lists.
Okay, so B needs to be 40 instead, right? Okay, good. Because there need to be consecutive angles or supplementary. So this is false, and you are correct about why. Opposite angles are supposed to be congruent, and this wouldn't even work out at all, would it? If that was 50 and 50 and 140 and 140, we'd have too much for the angles. They're supposed to only add up to 360. So that does not work because they're supposed to be supplementary. Write a letter. Write the letter for the correct answer. Oh, we didn't have that. You don't have a letter. We're just doing the problem. Okay, now I've noticed a lot of students having trouble with this one. This is going to be on the quiz that you need to know about angles in here that are congruent. It definitely, this picture's on there and it has different numbers on it. You've got to be able to find it. You can't always expect things to just be one quick look and you get the answer, all right? Sometimes it takes a little more effort to get to the answer. There are things we need to figure out before we can get angle 1. So tell me some angles you could figure out because of what you're given. Caden? This is 60? How come? Good job. Alternate interior angles are congruent. He's going this way with those two pairs of parallel sides. That gives you those angles are equal. You need to know that. Okay? And it does go the other way, okay, with the Z. But we don't, angle 1 is going to be the same as this angle up here. Okay. Now, but we used up the 60. So you should write it on the picture. That's how you get things figured out. You write down stuff that you can tell. So what could you do with the 140 that would help us? Someone else want to tell me what I could do with the 140, Bryce? Well, okay, vertical angles are congruent. That is very true. But is that going to help me get angle 1? What about these, you guys? Yes, Gwen. They're supplementary. Did I do it again, Olivia? Oh, my God. I can't believe I've started that up again this semester. I got over it in the beginning of the last semester, and then I didn't do it for a long time. Then I started doing it again now. All right. Olivia, you are correct. These are supplementary. So how big would the angle next to the 140 be? 40. 180 minus 140 is 40. Okay, you're just going to have different numbers on your quiz. So now I can see the baby triangle over there. What do those angles add up to in any triangle? 180. So we're going to go 180 minus 40 plus 60 is 100. And angle 1 is 80. Okay, and we're going to make it something else on the quiz. All right, given that BE is x plus 6, that's from there to there, and ED is 3x minus 12, that's from there to there. What do you know about the diagonals? They bisect each other. So those segments are equal. So we're going to set ED and BE congruent. 3x minus 12 equals x plus 6. We'll subtract x from both sides. We'll have 2 times x minus 12 equals 6. We'll add 12 to both sides. That'll give us 2 times x is 18. Divide by 2, and we get x is 9. And then it says to find BD, and it writes next to it, be careful. Careful. What do most kids do? They plug in 9 and get 15. And they write 15. It didn't say BE. That's 15. This is 15. So what's the whole thing? All right, 30. Okay. Does anybody still need this? Next, 13. What are we going to do to find, guys, I don't know why there's not a blank for finding y. We need to find y first anyway. So what property of parallelograms am I going to use to find y? The fact that, what are these angles? What kind are they called? Like, how do you describe these angles? What can you say about angle A and C? Or what? They are opposite angles, okay? Opposite angles are congruent, guys. We need to know these words. They're congruent. So 2 times y minus 40 equals y plus 10. Subtract a y from both sides. You'll have y minus 40 equals 10. Then you'll need to add 40 to both sides. And you'll have y is 50. Once we know y is 50, we can figure out more stuff. Angle C, we can do 2 times 50 minus 40 and find it. That's 100 minus 40. Yep, so angle C is 60 degrees. Now, I do have what is x, but let's see what we'd have to do to figure out x now. If we know that angle C is 60, what do you know about angle B and C?
Right before the drug test too, that will supposedly...
Guys, angle B plus angle C is how much? All right, 180. They're supplementary. So 4x plus 60 equals 180. Next, you would subtract 60 from both sides. 4x equals 120. And then you divide by 4 and find out x is 30. Oh, not degrees, but just 30. Okay, this isn't that hard. It's just you've got to know the properties. You've got to remember what it said in your list. And you have the list of properties. Not a whole lot of excuses for not figuring it out.
Question. Are you, well, is this...
You've got pictures with examples. Anybody still need 13? Okay, what are we going to do to find x on 14? I can't. I got to use all of those angles. So this is what people forget. This, just because this is four-sided. Okay, go ahead, Bryce. What can you do to find out how much all the angles add up to?
Well, you would say with your math, Walmart's 24/7.
They add up to 360. Okay, number of sides minus 2 times 180, guys. Or 180 times number of sides minus 2. It has 4 sides. 180 times 4 minus 2 is 180 times 2, and that's 360. Is that how you were thinking, Bryson? Bryce? Did you get that? Okay, so let's find out. How many x do we have? 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8x. Add up the numbers. We got 60. 8x plus 60 equals 360. Subtract 60 from both sides. 8 times x is 300. And I don't know what that is. So what? 300 divided by 8?
So we're walking in there, we're charging.
100 and what? Oh. It's not. It's 37 point. I don't know where I got 100 coming out of there. Holy moly. 37 and a half? 37.5. Okay. Just came out to a decimal. Going to have something like that on the quiz. Determine whether ABCD is a parallelogram. If AB is 8, BC is 10, CD is... All right, I better draw this thing. A, B, C, D. As soon as you see letters, and I'm not going to have just A, B, C, Ds on the quiz. I'll have some. You go around the outside in that order. If AB is 8, BC is 10, CD 8, DA 10. Is this a parallelogram? Has to be. Okay, because if two pair opposite sides congruent, then it's a parallelogram.
Right? But if you had two more, which I did later in my life, guess what? You know that didn't say UI. It was like reckless driving or uses or something like that.
You gotta have a reason. There are at least 3 questions like that.
So they see X, Y, Z, ABC, they realize that.
They're either going to show you a picture and they have numbers and stuff on it, or slashes, or angle measures, or something, and you have to tell why they are a parallelogram or not. So, 16. What are we going to do with, what property are we going to use of parallelograms for 16? Keep getting the same people answering the questions. See, I've had Olivia, Bryce, and Kaden so far in the list, but that's it.
Then it says, hey, did Larry pass your drug test? And if they say no, then they know you smoke.
Give me a board call.
I hope more of you know what the heck you're going to do to solve this problem. Bryce?
Well, technically you're not supposed to say that because people lost, but you can't.
Sure. What property is that though of the diagonals? What happens to the diagonals? What's the word? Bisect. Okay, you've got. I'm just trying to get you to know your vocab. Bisect each other. That's been one that's been a struggle for a lot of people to remember. Bisect each other. Yes, Olivia.
I think that's the last thing you should do.
Yeah.
I guess if you have an emergency. 5x minus 8 equals 2x plus 4. And solve. So you have to subtract 2x from both sides. 3 times x minus 8 equals 4. All right, so then we're going to, after we want to find x, divide by, and you get 4. We're going to find y. Set them equal 4y minus 4 equals y plus 8. I think I'm going to get the same answer. I subtracted y from both sides. Now I'm going to add 4. And guess what? 12 divided by 3 is, again, 4. That was a coincidence. Now, honestly, since, well, if you plug those back in here, that would be 12, and this would be 12. Ooh. You can't, that would have to have been a square, and I'm going to teach you about, or rectangle, actually. On starting next week, we're going to learn more properties of different figures. So if you think this is confusing, we got a whole bunch more to add on. We're going to learn them. Okay, what could I do? Let's see. Parallelogram MLKJ with angle MJL. So I go from M to J to L is 20. So I'm going to put that on my picture. And MLJ, that's up here, is 25. Find MLK, which is going to be this angle up here, the whole thing. And find the measure of angle LKJ. Well, let's figure this one out first. What can I do? All right, you need to understand that something happens with those diagonals. Robert, and I hope I haven't been missing you. Put your hand up. Okay, there are alternate interior angles here and here, so the 20 can go here, and the 25 can go on the other side here. All right. All right, so now I can just take MLK to find it, add those two, and that's 45. All right, and then I need to find LKJ. I want this angle. Now, there's a couple ways to get it. I really can't hear you, hon. Oh, perfect. Okay, 180 minus 45 will do it. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. These angles are supplementary, so you could have done it that way. Or you can say, I got a triangle right there, and the angles of any triangle add up to 180. So I add 25 and 20, and I subtract from 180. I get 135. Okay. Alrighty, 18 opposite sides in a parallelogram are congruent. That's the property we're using. So we're going to do 4x plus 1 equals 17. You should have been able to solve that one. This one is definitely on the quiz to do. Angle G plus angle F equals 180. Get it straight. When they are consecutive, they're supplementary. So the equation for this one, 10x plus 15 plus 55 equals 180. Okay, you guys solve those, please. You should get 4 for number 18, 11 for number 19. Anybody need help with how I got 11 or 4? No? Okay, one more here. Find the distance between each pair of points. All right, reminder, I'm going to have you write down a couple formulas for you to practice. X minus X quantity squared plus Y minus Y quantity squared. That's what you're going to use for distance. And slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's your slope. And then there's one more formula to write down, please. Midpoint. That's when you take your x's and add them and divide by 2. And take your y values, add them, and divide by 2. I will briefly go over these on Tuesday before we start our quiz. Please make sure you do them and have your other papers completed as well. 6-1, 6-2, and 6-3. And next time we meet, we'll have our quiz.